I had a patient, a woman in her 30s who was exhausted. Not tired, not, hey, you can just sleep it off. No, exhausted, falling asleep at 3 p.m. exhausted. She'd been told it was stress or it was just being busy, but her iron was on the floor. But nobody had asked why. Not how do we add iron back, but why is it draining out in the first place? I'm Dr. B. I'm a triple board certified gastroenterologist with over 20 years in medicine. Low iron is one of the most common things that I've seen throughout my career, and I also would say it's one of the most misunderstood. So today, I'm going to give you the 7 things that I actually do about iron. What I eat, how I eat, and there's a really important step that you do not want to miss. Let's get into it. Iron carries oxygen. Every single cell in your body needs oxygen. Every single breath that you take moves oxygen, but then you can't get it to the tissues that really need it. Running low is like your body running on a low battery. There's fatigue, brain fog, cold hands. You might notice hair in the drain. You might get short of breath on just basic stuff like going up a flight of stairs. And it hits women especially hard. Number 1, periods. Every single cycle in a month is a withdrawal from your iron stores, and a heavy one drains it faster than food might even be able to refill it. Number 2, pregnancy. You're trying to build the baby's blood supply on top of your own, so basically you need double the iron during that period of time. And number 3, perimenopause, where cycles often turn heavier and less predictable. That's 3 different P's. I don't know why. That's just the way it worked out. Total coincidence. But my point is we're here to fix it. And let's start with the plate. Oh my gosh, another P. On to the 7 things. Number 1, I eat iron-rich plants on purpose. When you think of iron, most people think of steak, but you really don't need to. Here's what I actually eat to raise my iron. Lentils, beans, tofu, tempeh, pumpkin seeds, spinach, oats. Oh, and there's my secret weapon, dark chocolate, the real kind, the one that's like 70% or more. But all of these, they're loaded with iron. I know the pushback. You're all thinking this right now as you listen to me. Yes, but Dr. B, plant-based iron doesn't absorb as well. You're right. That's totally true, but you need to give me the opportunity to take that head on. There are 2 kinds of iron in food. There's heme iron, which you find in animal-based foods, meat, especially red meat. That comes from their red blood cells. And then there's non-heme iron, and that comes from plants. Heme iron does get absorbed more easily. Your body takes up a bigger fraction of it, but that absorption does come with a trade-off that, honestly, we haven't been discussing enough. Your body has a smart thermostat for the plant-based non-heme iron. When your stores are full, it automatically turns the absorption down. But when you're low, it actually turns the absorption up. Your body is self-regulating your iron levels. But with heme iron, the animal-based kind, it doesn't actually work that way. It actually slips past the thermostat. Your body is going to absorb it, whether you need it or not. And iron turns out to be more powerful in the body than most people realize. It's not just the precursor to red blood cells. When you have too much of it, it can actually become oxidative, which means that it's driving cellular wear and tear that, frankly, we would rather avoid. In large population studies, a higher intake of heme iron has been linked to a higher risk of colorectal cancer. I know some of you are yelling at the channel right now. Shut up! Thinking, oh, Dr. B, that's just a correlation. There's a lot of things that track as correlations that don't actually cause the problem. It's totally fair. So now I'm going to show you how this really breaks down when we look under the hood. Researchers took this question into the laboratory and they isolated heme iron, not by looking at a food survey where you ask people to remember what they ate from 3 weeks ago. They actually did controlled experiments. And when they did, the heme iron actually drove precancerous changes in the colon. So this raised the question. The scientists were wondering, what is the mechanism? And what they found is that the heme iron actually triggers the formation of compounds that are directly toxic to and damaging to the DNA of your colon cells. When you create more DNA damage, you are creating the setup for precancerous changes and eventually, potentially, cancer. So what started as a correlation, I've now shown you the mechanism. I'm not here trying to like totally vilify heme iron. I wouldn't describe it as being evil. But at the same time, I hear all of these discussions on the internet where people make it sound like it is the preferred choice of all of the types of iron that you could get. I definitely don't see it that way. In fact, I totally disagree. Plant-based sources of non-heme iron, they provide so much more than just the iron. We don't eat for single nutrients. We eat for all of the good stuff that our food can provide. Fiber, polyphenols, healthy fats, various phytochemicals, and yes, the iron. Now, there is still this lingering issue, which is the absorption problem. But like a magician, I can make that disappear with a simple trick. That brings us to number 2. I pair iron with vitamin C. Vitamin C transforms how much of the non-heme plant-based iron that your body can actually grab and soak up. It takes the non-heme iron and it makes it far more absorbable. And it's so easy, not to mention delicious. Salsa on beans, how basic is that? A squeeze of lemon over your kale or your lentils. Bell peppers in that delicious stir fry with tofu. Citrus or strawberries with your morning oats. When you pair iron with vitamin C, you are creating nature's synergy, and that is a completely natural hack. Do it every single time, and next thing you know, this whole absorption problem with plants, it starts to go away real quick. Number 3, as much as I love them, move coffee and tea away from my high iron meals. They're a quiet saboteur. The compounds in coffee, black tea, and green tea, which we call tannins, they actually block the absorption of non-heme iron. So you could eat a beautiful iron-rich breakfast and wash it down with a cup of joe, and unfortunately, you just undercut yourself. So the rule is super simple. Coffee and tea between meals, not with the iron meal. Try to give it an hour on either side. It's a little change, but actually it makes a difference. Number 4, this is such a secret weapon if you're not doing it already. I cook in a cast iron pan. It's almost too easy. Cooking in cast iron, especially the acidic foods like a tomato sauce, for example, it starts to actually bring out the iron right into your food. It's a non-heme iron source, the kind that we're trying to get. You already paired it with vitamin C. You're going to absorb even more of it. And by the way, cooking in cast iron, is there anyone who thinks that is not supremely delicious? This is not a mega dose of iron, but every time you cook, it does add up. Number 5, when I supplement, I do it gently and I do it smart. Most people get handed the classic iron supplement and it creates problems and then they quit. I'm talking about ferrous sulfate. It works, but it is hard on the gut. It can cause nausea, stomach discomfort, constipation, and I mean a lot of constipation. And people, they feel awful. And then they stop taking it. And then they're just like, where am I going to get my iron from? I like a gentler form, a chelated iron source like ferrous bisglycinate. In a head-to-head trial, a chelated gentle iron source caused gut side effects in just 2% of women. Ferrous sulfate, 18%. And the interesting thing is the ferrous sulfate was being given at a lower dose. With iron, it's kind of counterintuitive sometimes. More isn't always better. When you take it every single day, your body raises a hormone called hepcidin that turns the absorption gate down for the next dose. But if you take it every other day instead, you actually absorb a bigger fraction of your iron and you have fewer side effects and you end up just as iron replete. Gosh, that's exactly where you want to be. So the goal isn't to flood your body with iron, it's to restore it, but without making yourself miserable. Number 6, I don't chase iron in isolation. This is part of a much bigger picture. You need to be chasing a diverse plant-rich plate. And yes, lock in that vitamin C because that will increase the absorption. And you should be focusing on what are the tools that can make your gut healthier. This iron story is not really an iron story. It's bringing us right back to our original story, which is to eat a diverse plant-based diet to support your gut health. You can eat all the iron in the world, but if your gut isn't absorbing it, you're going to stay low. That brings me to the last and most important step, the one that no one can skip. I find out why it's low. Iron deficiency is not just a diagnosis. You should never just stop there. Your body doesn't run low on iron for no reason. Something is causing it. And sometimes that something matters more than the low iron itself. In a man or in a woman past menopause, low iron especially demands an answer because you're not losing blood through your monthly period. But even in women who are experiencing a regular menstrual cycle, I think that we're a little too quick to blame our menstrual cycle on our low iron levels. It comes down to 3 questions. Number 1, are you getting enough iron in your diet? Sometimes the simplest answer is actually the right one. We call that Occam's razor. And I've already given you 6 dietary strategies that you can use to increase the iron in your diet. Lean into those. Number 2, are you absorbing it? This is where the gut doctor leans in because the classic cause can be celiac disease. This is an immune reaction to gluten that damages the lining of your small intestine, which is right where the iron gets absorbed. We should talk about Crohn's disease as well, where Crohn's disease can cause inflammation and damage throughout the small intestine and lead to similar issues. And then chronic inflammation. This can actually block the absorption of iron because it's driving up the hepcidin hormone, which closes the gate on iron absorption. I just want to reiterate celiac because it's common, it's underdiagnosed, and if you have iron deficiency, this needs to be something you're thinking about. And number 3, are you losing blood? This could be something that you don't even realize. You know, when GI blood loss starts to happen, if it's fast, you see red blood. If it's slow, you see tarry black stools. We call that melena. But when it's really, really slow, I'm talking a drop here, a drop there, but 24 hours a day, nonstop, it can be totally silent. You could be having black stool, not have any clue that this is going on. But somewhere in the GI tract, there could be an ulcer, a fragile small blood vessel, or a growth in the colon that frankly shouldn't be there. And this is why in a person who has iron deficiency anemia, I really think that we need to look into this. Here's the rule that matters the most. If you're a menstruating woman, diet and periods may explain it, but let's not make assumptions. And if you're a man or a woman past menopause, low iron is a red flag until proven otherwise. For a lot of people, that means 2 tests. An upper endoscopy, which allows us to take a look in the stomach and small intestine and test for celiac disease. And a colonoscopy, which is a camera that allows us to take a look for any growths that might be in the colon and also look for Crohn's disease. These aren't tests to be afraid of. They're tests that give you answers. Replacing the iron treats the number, but really, it's finding the cause that protects your life. So there you have it, 7 strategies that I would describe as essential for anyone who has low iron levels. Eat iron-rich plants, pair them with vitamin C, keep coffee and tea away from the meal, cook in cast iron, supplement gently and smart, keep the big picture in view. This is not just an iron thing. And finally, most importantly, find the cause, fix the iron, get your energy back. If this helped, I want you to send it to one person in your life who you think would benefit from this. And if you're not subscribing, I would absolutely click to subscribe. In fact, one step further, I would click to get the notifications. That way, every single time I drop a brand new gut health video, you'll know about it and you can join me. And I can't wait to see you there.